Alright, let's go ahead and look at another high approach Joseki. We're going to look, same as last time, we're going to look at an old variation, and then we're going to look at a new variation. So let's say you approach nice and high. Might as well, you're flashing 2/4/4 stones, which last time I checked does seem to indicate that maybe you're interested in influence. So you're going about that sort of thing. When lo and behold, your opponent decides to approach pretty close, putting a lot of pressure on your stone. What do you do? Well, something that a few of my students wind up doing from studying very old Joseki books is they play something like this immediately without even thinking about it. And the result from here, again depending on the stones that are preferred, is we might wind up going back and getting into this variation where, yeah, we really are getting influence, but we're not really sure how we're going to use it. Because what if we don't even have 4/4 stones? What if we actually opened up with, I don't know, maybe 3/4 stones? Maybe we wanted to play a territorial game and not an influential game. So what is this that we're doing? Is there other options available to us? I mean, yeah, there are. We could push through cut and settle, but that's very, very local. And in my opinion, it's a little bit slow. I'm sure others would disagree. But there are other variations out there, which is what we're going to go through now. Rather than go through this and winding up forced to lean on this to get influence that we might not want, we can actually go back and play here, this attachment, which I'm sure that many of you have seen before. Now, the great thing about Go is that it kind of has these very weird phases where sometimes old variations aren't really that old. Maybe they were recently discovered but then kind of discarded to make way for other things. And sometimes the newer variations aren't really that new. Maybe they're old variations that we're actually playing again, variations that have come into style. And this is very much one of those. Because we could play this, which I'm sure the bulk of the people who watch these videos will already know. You can play the Hane here. White can say, I want to gobble your stone. Black says, not without a fight. Which white is, that's stupid. Which white is more than happy to give. Black says, I gobble your stone. White says, I gobble your stone. Black says, can I gobble this stone? White says, no, I cannot. And thus the variation is ended. From here, again, depending on the board, we can go off and play something large. Maybe a high Chinese in light of the influence here. Low is also fine. Enclosures are okay. I mean, whatever you want, really. I mean, sure, there's Aji here. I mean, there's the push, there's the cut, and of course the Atari and then the push. So we can extend off of here, but, you know, there are other options available to both players, which we're going to look at. Right, so what can we do instead? Black plays here. White says, I don't want to go and do that kind of thing. Now, we could do this, but we're kind of getting back into, we're kind of getting back into variations that nobody really likes to play all that much. I guess we could play here and then get into that, but now we're low and we're unhappy. There are alternatives to this, which I'm not going to go over. That's not the focus of this particular video. That's the focus of another one, what to do aside from playing here. For this one, we're going to take a look at this variation instead. A rather old variation that's kind of come back again. From here, Black simply drops down for a nice simple variation. White protects, and what we do not do is follow suit, because if we follow suit, then we get poked, and if we get poked, we have to respond. And if we respond, we're quickly realizing our opponent's getting stronger, And yet, we cannot live locally in the corner, can we? No matter how hard we struggle, and try to keep this... Okay, that's playing 2 moves in a row, that doesn't help. No matter how hard we struggle, we cannot, by any means, live locally, right? So this would be a very, very bad variation, which we're of course not going to play now that we know the danger exists. We can take a look at that immediately and say to ourselves, I need to protect my base before going back there, so I'm going to kick, which is a completely acceptable variation. You can do that, and now you're fine in the corner. You're alive, locally. Not only are you alive locally, but this is probably even going to be Sente for you. Why Sente? Because one thing that black would love to get in right now is this particular attack on these 2 stones. Because I'm sure, or 3 stones. Because I'm sure, as you know, a 2-space extension does not live locally. It needs more stones. And I'm sure white definitely does not want to have to run away right now, because that would be pretty bad for him, and really, really good for, let's say, black's development. Not bad, right? Not bad at all. Quick, easy profit, simply because white decided not to play safe and make an extra stone over here. Which, if you are white, I greatly advise doing. You do not want these under severe attack. Now, there are variations to this as well, so let's not be surprised if we see them. For example, instead of the kick, we could say defend. Again, very, very old variation that's come back and haunting us again. And it's a simple variation. And simple variations tend to be preferred by both professional and amateur players alike, because it leaves the board as uncluttered as possible while maintaining as many possibilities on that board that you can have at once, which is really good. When you have options, you're doing well. White says if you defend that way, you cannot live in corner local, which is not completely true because we still have this, but we don't respond to that instead. Instead, we can go back and pincer. And now, depending on the state of the board, this could be very, very good, because this pincer could easily also be an extension. Doing 2 things at once, always very, very nice for us. But even if it's not, you can see the aim of it. We can connect over, we can connect under, so even if white decides to jump away, we don't have to be disconnected from our stones. We can completely connect over and be happy. If white decides to be very, very aggressive and keep us from doing that, that is fine as well. We have this for later if we need to, but for now we can simply play out and wonder what white is trying to do with these rather slow stones. I mean, granted, we're no longer connected, but who cares, because what is he going to do now? Pincer? That doesn't seem like it's fast enough, does it? So we're relatively fine with this situation. We're out. On an open board, we can still get extension, and we're not sure what those stones are doing yet. So pretty good variation, pretty good variation. Nice, easy to find, easy to play, can't really go wrong with it. But then, that's just my opinion. If you like the diagonal, there's surely nothing wrong with it. You are free to play it. Just know that you do have all sorts of options available to you. You don't have to be pushed into this every single time you get pincered tightly like that. So, I hope you have a few more options under your belt as a result, and have fun experimenting with them in your own games. Do drop a comment, let me know how you've been liking these more modern variations, if they're working out for you, if they're not working out for you. Very, very curious to see how you guys are doing with them. Do let me know, and I'll see you next time.